Everybody but the President of the United States does seem to understand the stakes here. I'm joined now by the ranking member of the Intelligence Committee, Senator Mark Warner, Democrat of Virginia. Senator, it almost seems preposterous to argue about whether it's classified. It just seems to me that, as a civilian, that the timing of an imminent surprise attack is classified by its very nature.
Yeah. Chris, this is a no-brainer. And, you know, what I'd ask Hegseth or the president, why don't they pick up the phone and call some of the parents of the sailors who were on the aircraft carrier, the Truman, that deployed from Virginia, when their sons and daughters were flying some of these planes? If that information about where and when we were going to launch this attack was obtained by the Houthis, they could have deployed their defenses, which are pretty damn good. They've taken down planes in the past, and American lives would have been lost. If you don't understand that, if you don't get the fact that you don't reveal that kind of information before an attack like this happens, it's so fundamental. And the notion that they are trying to argue semantics of whether this is an attack plan or a war plan or a battle plan, the bottom line is what Americans realize. These guys got caught making a royal classic screw-up. They won't acknowledge it. This weakens us not only in terms of our intelligence community, people saying, holy heck, I'm working for the leadership that doesn't have my back, and what it says about our credibility around the world. You know, you can't put this genie back in the bottle with this kind of incompetence. So yes, Hegseth should go, he should resign or get fired. And if there is not accountability and we allow this to go on, the signal that sends to the rest of the world, the signal that sends to, like, if you're in the military, if you think your lives could be put in, frankly, in danger because your leadership doesn't keep confidential your action plans, this is not hard to figure out.
This is a strange situation because of how freakishly bizarre and catastrophic the error was. Like, they looped in a journalist, okay? But it also seems that this is, from everything we can tell, de rigueur for them. But this is an MO. They are routinely doing this. And this is, I thought this was pretty interesting. As far as we know, and best we know, that these are on their private phones. These are not on government-issued phones. Der Spiegel having reporting today in which they basically go out to the dark web and they find that the private contact details of the most important security advisors can be found on the internet. Mobile phone numbers, email addresses, even some passwords belonging to top officials. Most of these numbers are apparently still in use. Some of them linked to profiles on Instagram, LinkedIn, WhatsApp. Hostile intelligence services could use this publicly available data to hack the communications of those affected by installing spyware on their devices. Do you feel like we have an enormous four-alarm fire here in terms of this administration's openness to foreign intelligence service?
Yes, and I'd also say this is not a one-off. Let's just recap the fact that this is a pattern of sloppiness, a pattern of irresponsibility. Excuse me, the first 2 weeks in office, they inadvertently exposed the identities of 200 CIA agents.
Yep.
That means those young men and women can't be deployed around the world. Virtually every day, Musk and the Doge boys puts out knowingly or just stupidly classified information. The example is, like, they listed a bunch of federal properties they thought could be for sale. Well, one of them was a classified site. Or the fact that you've got the Doge 25-year-old kid looking through some of the Treasury accounts, because the truth is there are places where we try to hide operations in foreign nations, and things can be revealed that way. So if this was a one-off, you still wouldn't excuse it. And I can just tell you, Chris, if this had been a military officer or if this had been a CIA case officer who'd made this mistake, they would be fired, no questions asked. And what makes it particularly galling is when the Director of National Intelligence self-righteously tweets 12 days ago, I think it was, anybody leaks, we're going to pursue them to the full extent of the law. Well, does that apply to the leadership that is not ready for prime time? Does that apply that this is going to be just passed by? The damage that's done, you can't rectify this. And again, I go back to the initial point. They didn't have even the common decency to acknowledge, at least publicly, everybody on the Hill, doesn't matter what your party is saying, holy heck, how did this screw up happen? But they try to think they can just push their way through. This puts American lives at risk and obviously, further destroys our reputation with our partners, which we need. America first doesn't mean America alone, and that's where we're headed, and that will make our country less safe.
I want to just make sure I understand. You believe that Pete Hegseth should either resign or be fired, yes?
There's no question. I mean, the questions I have is, he didn't probably type this up. So this whole, thing that was posted, is it posted in other group chats?
Right.
Is there somewhere else this may appear? And the notion, again, I'm not getting nerdy out here, but has anybody collected their phones yet and make sure there's not malware?
Yes.
As you pointed out, the Der Spiegel, if you've got the phone number of an individual,
yeah,
the bad guys can place malware on. They don't have to touch your phone. Yes. That's why cyber. That's why security. It's like, yeah, I didn't think this crowd could still make my head explode, but my head's been exploding the last couple of days.